layer is a foundation for the next one. When the telephone wires were put in so that people could talk using conventional telephones, then these copper wires were connected all over the place. Then, when people wanted to connect computers, they used the existing copper wires to start with, and they made modems which allowed two computers to connect over the existing telephone network. Then, when they got computers connecting to each other, and the internet was invented as a system for sending little packets around, then it used the existing methods of connecting computers together to send packets from one place to another, but this time with a special address like a postcard, so that when it go from computer to computer and eventually end up at the right computer where you wanted it to get to, so that two computers could communicate with each other without worrying about all the connections in between. So the internet was built on top of that. Now when the people designed the internet, Vint Cerf and company, they designed the internet also as a foundation. They didn't make any assumptions about what it would be used for. That was very important. They didn't imagine the web, but it didn't matter. They built it so that I could invent the web, other people could invent all kinds of other things like internet telephony and shipping video and things like that. So the internet is just a medium which allows communication between two computers. The web is a space in which we have information and in which we have web applications. So each time, because the internet was deployed, as I said, where the internet was already deployed, the web spread very much more quickly than the internet had already spread. And the internet spread very much more quickly than the telephone system had spread. So things are going faster and faster and faster. As we look forward, we have, as I say, a duty to make sure that the web we design serves humanity and optimally. People look on the web and they see good things and they see bad things. Sometimes they look on the web and they see new systems starting and they're not sure whether at the end they're going to serve well or ill. People have a lot of questions. Where should we draw the line with privacy? What should we do now about managing how we use different pieces of information we've got from different people, and how we respect people's wishes for information to be used in particular ways. There are lots of concerns about it. So, as we look forward, obviously there are some things which we know are going to happen, some things which are going to be invented by our students, by people, well, they may be by people at this conference, which I can't imagine. But some of the things we can look forward to. For example, we know that one important change which is happening is that the web is getting onto these mobile devices. And importantly, it's not just people in this room who carry fancy portable digital assistants in their pockets, but the nice thing is when the web works on this, it will also work on cell phones that people have in developing countries where those cell phones may be the only access they have to the internet. So there is a really important move to make sure that, well, you should make sure that your website, try it on your phone. You should try it on your phone, not just because you want the executives around you to be able to access it when they're in their executive planes, but because when they can access it on their phone, then maybe it'll be useful by people in developing countries who otherwise would not be able to get it at all. So the mobile web is one area in which we're moving. Another area which I'm really emphasizing this year, and I'd like everybody to go and take away and emphasize this year as well, is that as well as having documents on the web, also we should have data on the web. A lot of life, a lot of running a government, a lot of running a company, a lot of doing scientific research, you have data. You have databases, you have spreadsheets, you have data which may not be very interesting to look at immediately, but if somebody takes it and combines it with other data and displays it, you can discover all kinds of new things, new science. You can perhaps help a company avoid an awkward financial situation. You can help a government use its resources more effectively. You can draw conclusions about what one government has done and what another government has done. Maybe you could look at healthcare information and old clinical trials and chemical information, and you can discover a new drug to cure AIDS or to cure cancer. These really important things that we need to do, we can do if we have access to the data. At the moment, some of the ideas which will be parts of the solutions to these problems are in people's heads, people's brains of scientists across the world. But very often, a lot of the knowledge which we need is sitting in the computer next to them in a disk. And even if we can get to it through a web page, really, we don't want that. A scientist doesn't want to see a web page, they want the data. So we've got this movement called linked open data. It's a movement for open linked data. Linked data is like linked documents, but it's data. It's very simple, and it's now growing. I'm very excited the way that it's taking off, and I hope that by the end of this year we'll see a significant amount of government data being put on the web. Already it's starting. There's in various countries. There's some US data, government data, which is out there on the web. Some UK government data on the web. There's some very interesting projects based in Berlin at the Freie Universität. So this linked open data movement is something which is very topical at the moment, and I urge you to remember it if you have to remember one thing from this. But then so these are some of the things which hopefully will make the web more powerful and make the web more exciting. But if you stand back, and as we did for a group of us with Wendy, at one point we were sitting back and thinking, okay, so the goal of web science then should be that the web should serve humanity, right? And when we looked at that, we thought, well, you know what? WSRI, the Web Science Research Initiative, and web science isn't actually going to be enough, because it's not just science you need. Yes, science tends to investigate exciting new things for the early adopters, for people in developed countries. The only moment you talk about serving humanity, immediately you realize that 80% of the world doesn't use the web. For 80